ActiveCampaign Tags, how to set them up and how to use them are what's going to be covered in this video. Probably the more important of those two is how you set them up. That will kind of dictate your success with using tags inside ActiveCampaign. In my opinion, the goal should be to be able to have tags, thousands of tags that you can see and understand without even having to dig into them at all. The naming convention you come up with will dictate a lot of the success you have. So we're going to start off by creating tags that are designed to control automations, and we'll have tags applied based on actions, and then finally tags to segment people. So let's just start with the naming convention. This is my system. You want to come up with your own system. I typically set up tags that go from left to right in terms of naming, all capital on the left, and then more details as you go along, typically separated by like a dash. You might have, let's say, capital something, colon, or white space, and information. These are my kind of over the goals or the tags that I use to start with. I do modify them as I go along. So the bang tags, or the exclamation tags, is just there so it shows up alphabetically, and that's kind of a nice feature. Unfortunately, ActiveCampaign doesn't have categories, at least right now. So I'm basically using the first word in my tag as a category, and I'm capitalizing the whole thing so it's easy to identify. And when I search for something, I can just basically search with that first word in the tag and then figure out which one I want. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups. I don't use them all. Some I use extensively, quite a bit more, others barely. As an example, here's kind of my thinking, if you will. I always go from, like I said, very general to specific. So for instance, activity might be activity-attended-something. And usually those are permanent because I want to know that somebody's actually done something. Next one is membership, and I'll show you an example on the next slide, but basically it's, again, general to specific, and I want to label that so that I understand where people are at. And in this case, I want to also know something about their status. Are they active? Have they had a payment failure? Did they cancel? Like I said, on the next slide, I'm a little bit different on that. Profile tags I use extensively. It's kind of to profile people, to know something about them. Do they use this? Are they this age bracket or something like that? That gets used a lot. Reporting, not so much, and they tend to be temporary. Use it on a campaign, and what was it? Was it for today, for last week, last month, that type of thing, if you will. Status, again, typically don't use that too much, but I'm going to do status dash the campaign they were involved in and what it was. Are we reporting? Is there progress? Temp category. Surprisingly, I use it a lot, but it's designed to be temporary. And then you delete it. And it shows, again, the naming conventions. Start on the left, generic, general, go from broad to more specific with regards to the information. So that can be loose, open-ended, but if I ever see a temp tag and I don't know what it is, say goodbye. Trigger tags I do use quite a bit, and it's typically trigger dash name, if dash sequence if needed, and then dash start, stop, or loop. Usually I capitalize that word to start, stop, or loop as a way to identify that something started or something stopped, and usually it's an automation. So let's dive into one example. So this goes back, I guess, to my membership one. I changed it up a little bit, but notice on the left-hand side, I know this person's a customer, followed by a dash, followed by basically the product name. So right there, I can tell they're a customer of this product. The first tag there is a permanent tag. It's not going anywhere. So as soon as somebody becomes a customer of Integrate Pro membership, they always have that tag, whether they're an active member or not. The next two tags control basically their access or their status. So if somebody's active, they've got the active tag, they do not have the inactive tag, and vice versa. So really, I only want them to have one of those two tags. They buy, they become a customer -Integrate Pro membership. They're also -active. However, should they refund or they cancel their subscription, then I remove the active tag and apply the inactive tag. So let's see how this looks kind of in real life. So I'm going to show you a control automation that has tags involved with it. And again, this is my way of doing things. I try and do the same thing over and over again so that when I look at something or create something, it follows a kind of a logical order. And look on the upper left, you can see the name, Integrate Pro Membership Main Purchase. So probably understand that it's for this product that they've made a purchase. So first thing I want to do is typically clean up tags. I want to get rid of tags that are not appropriate at this point. So in this case, I want to remove the customer integrate pro membership -active. You might be scratching, well, why would you need to do that? Well, what if this person was previously a member? They're going to have that inactive tag, so let's just get rid of it. But if they never bought, no big deal. Nothing happens. Second thing, add the active version of that tag, and then add the normal customer tag, which will get applied and stayed there. So first thing is remove tags, second thing is add tags, third thing is put them on a list that's appropriate for whatever. In this case, I typically put people on specific customer lists. I don't have a lot, I've got a few that are very specific in addition to any other list that they might be on. And then the next two things are basically sending them somewhere else to do something. So this automation, this main purchase automation, is basically what I call a controller automation. Do a little house cleaning on the tags, put them on a list, and then send them to other automations to do something specific, then in this automation. So all I'm doing inside here with regards to tags is either adding or removing. Now, here's another automation. Again, very similar, Integrate Pro membership, in this case, subscription refund. So guess what? I remove a tag, in this case, the active tag, and I apply the inactive tag. Now, I haven't shown you why, but let me step into another automation. And this automation is like a 7-day reminder email. So every 7 days, an email goes out if they haven't done something. So that's what that first yellow goal is for. So when people come in, they get put into this automation via the previous one. They sit there for 7 days. After 7 days, they get put into another automation which sends them an email. Now the yellow goal below that will have them skip over that automation if they did something specific. And then the blue, we remove a tag that actually got them into here in the first place. Or actually that takes them out of here. So we remove a tag. And then the second goal is, are they still a member? So if they're no longer a member, they are going to get pulled out of this automation. And that's where that if-else statement comes down below. It says, does the contact match the following conditions? Has the tag customer integrate pro membership inactive? If they have that, we end this automation. Otherwise, we loop right back up to the top and start over again. So in this case, we're using a tag to control access or access inside an automation. So if they're no longer a member, there's no reason for them to be in this automation, and we use that to pull them out. Okay, another one is tagging based on action. So here's an example, and you can get really creative with this, typically within automations, but there's some good ones built into ActiveCampaign by default. So an easy one is web form. If somebody signs up to your mailing list through a ActiveCampaign web form, you can add an action which is basically apply a tag to this person based on their subscription. So you might have a web form on your main site and you apply a tag that indicates that's where they came from, that they're a prospect. You could have a form on a different website and add a different or an appropriate tag. So that's built into ActiveCampaign. Let me show you how that looks in real time. So if you've got a list, or a form I should say, you want to click on Edit. And under Options, you're going to go to Add Action, select an action, and add a tag. And then go ahead and type forward. So I'm going to just do tags, and that'll just show my whole placeholder tag. So that's how you do it. Okay, Here's another one. So if you're sending out an email and somebody clicks on a link that's in your email, you can tag them based on that link click. And you can do something with that. You can either indicate that's a profile, something about them, or you can kick off another automation. And the way that looks is like this. So I've got an email here getting ready to go out, but I've got a link right here. So if I click on it just lightly, click on this little link thing, I can add an action. And guess what? I can add, oops, I added 2. You can add multiple actions, of course. I'm going to do select a tag and just type ahead to the tag name. This is where it's useful to know what the tag starts with so you can add it from there. And then one more thing that you can do with tags that's really built into ActiveCampaign is segment based on tags. And a good example of that is when you want to send out an email, you can choose from one or multiple lists that you have. Additionally, you can apply or you can segment based on tag or tags that that person has that's on that particular list. So again, this is what it looks like. You want to go here, choose the list that you want to choose from, and then select a segment. You can create a new one. My recommendation is you make this name appropriate. So I'm not going to save this one. And then go ahead and add your first condition. So again, you can choose tag, and then does it exist or does it not exist? And use that as a way to segment your mailing list to something smaller, maybe more appropriate. That's how you can use ActiveCampaign tags.